Oh, hey, I'm live. Um, Good morning, all of those who might still be up, or the ones that just got up. Good morning. Good morning. Um, I got up. It feels good. Life is good. I'm here. Everybody's here. Um, I'm just thinking about gardening, planning, planning. One of the most important things you can do this year is plan. Have everything planned so that when you go towards that soil, you know what temperature you're looking at to start. You know, you know what plants you're going to put in. You know how much you're going to spend, and you know what materials you're going to use, and that is essential. It feels good. I'm going to love you, love you, love you. Yeah, my voice is sounding a little like Barry White this morning. I've noticed it. I have to apologize for that, but I did a lot of talking yesterday. What's happening is I'm going to go through my seeds and see which seeds I have, uh, which will critique how much and, what plants I'm going to do this year. Um, I don't see myself buying any seeds this year. I don't see it. I leave my options open, but I don't see it because I have tons and tons of seeds. Um, if I grow something completely new, now that might be something that I might do. I might plant something completely new. But right now, as it stands, I don't see myself buying any seeds because I have lots of seeds saved. Uh, and I have pepper seeds that will allow me to plant uh, the ones that were purchased in a pack or the ones that came from that pack was planted, produced fruit, and then I extracted the seeds. Those are the seeds I'm going to grow because they're more suitable to my soil now. They're more suited how I water, how I feed. They are more adjusted to growing in those conditions. So I will not plant seeds from a pack as opposed to using seeds I already have. Um, so that being said, I hope that I saved some cucumber seeds because the seeds from the cucumber, I mean, the cucumbers did incredible this year. And I was talking to other gardeners that said that they did not have any luck with cucumbers this year. They just did not. And and I think that was very unfortunate, however. But I've seen some of the prettiest, beautiful cucumbers I saw this year, and I love it when I like looking at cucumbers because they have a nice aroma. They're beautiful colors that are the pigments are in their the skins. Um, and when you grow one that's perfect, and you know that you had something to do with it, um, I strung them up so that they didn't have the yellow bottoms, um, and they were just beautiful, beautiful cucumbers. And I gave some away. But this year, instead of just doing two plants, I'm thinking more of six, seven plants. And the reason why is because when I was giving them away, I ran out. The ones I want to give to people, and I ran out. So I did not like that at all. Um, so that being said, I'm going to plant enough. God, it was beautiful. The cucumbers did very well. I'm just thinking about that. I did a compost mix, which was I did a compost mix. I watered them with a liquid fertilizer that I made with compost, cow manure, and weeds and grass. Allow it to ferment or break down for at least about 3 weeks. And really, 3 weeks I started using it, but I let it sit for all summer, really. And it turned into this beautiful dark greenish brownish liquid. Oh, it was beautiful. And you pour it onto a plant, After you got to dilute it 1 part to 10 parts of water, and when you do that, it just does beautiful things to your soil, and especially when you're planting, it does a great job when you're planting because sometimes plants, and most of the time, I go as far as saying that most of the time they do need some type of liquid fertilizer when you're planting so that they don't go in the shock. You put them in the ground if you're doing seedlings. You put them in the ground and you pour over this solution, uh, and it helps them not to go in the shock. Plus, it gives them a quick feed right then and there so that they can do their thing. Um, and I love that. God, I love that. Um, the pepper seeds that I have are going to be from ones I grew this past year. I'm going to use those seeds as opposed to the ones in the pack. See, the ones in the pack are not going to go to waste because they're going to sit there in the pack until eventually one day I need them. But I really want to do. Um, uh, hey, what's up, brother? How's everything going on your end? I saw a couple videos that I was like, okay, what's going on here? Um, but all in all, I didn't see. I might have missed it. I didn't see any gardening videos. I know you're going to come out with some video. Oh yeah, you were chopping down the banana trees. And I always thought about growing those, but in my climate, it's just too cold. It's just too cold. Um, but I saw all of that all that mass that you had there, which was all fertilized. I kept looking at that when you were cutting them down. I kept looking at it and saying, look at all that fertilizer he has there in that one spot right there. I mean, just chop, chop, chop. And then the way I thought to stop them from growing back would be to get a tarp and cover that area, and then they won't come back. As long as they don't get the sun, they won't come back. I do that with weeds, and I do that with a couple trees that I took out. I took out some trees, and I had to do that. I had to cover them with the tarp, and once I covered them but it takes a while to kill them. Because Mother Nature makes everything kind of strong. Um, but I cut them all the way down to the ground, and I covered them with the tarp, put some stones around it. And when I did that, they definitely did not come back because they could not get to the sun. They just died. It took some months, but it's better than some people tell you. Cut them down to the ground, take a paintbrush with some weed killer, and paint the fresh cut, and that'll kill them. But I'm not putting weed killer in my soil. I'm not doing that because that stuff goes down to the roots and it permeates through your soil. I will not have that in my soil. Um, but I am looking at. Um, oh, I know you are. I know you are. I know you are because what I was talking about mainly is planning everything. Planning everything. I told people many times over, plan everything. What trees you gonna put in? Why? Do you like that particular fruit? What kind of care is it gonna need? Um, the only thing I regret putting in right now is those plum trees, but they are Stanley plums, and Stanley plums is a world class plum that most gardeners put in, and there's a reason for that because it probably has more ability to withstand a little bit of neglect. Um, Gardeners that really don't know what they're doing with them because they had experts that grow everything. And some people are experts at growing corn. Some people are experts growing apples, and they know apple trees inside and out, and they know how to get the right type of fruit from that apple: sweet, crunchy, uh, correct size, everything. They know how to do that. That's what they do, and I have respect for that. Um, I have. My favorite thing is collard green and kale. I mean, it's nothing for me to grow that stuff. And I always going to keep kale on my property. I'm always going to keep kale on my property because kale is so healthy for you that if you don't keep it on your property, that and another fruit called blackberries, it has more antioxidants in it than a lot of other berries. Um, So that being said, yes, I'm gonna keep blackberries on my property, and in fact, I up the number of plants that I have this year. And so that being said, I'm going to get more plants of blackberries planted because I'm not going to have a situation where I know a plant is beneficial for you. And another thing I want to get in touch with you about, all of you, blackberries in the store that I go to, you get about not even a handful. Let me see if I can get that up there in the shot. Not even a handful, but about a palmful, $4 and some change. Now, when I see that, I know I better have them on hand because I say I like blackberries and blackberries are healthy for you. And the hospitals don't want you eating these berries because you stay away from the hospital. Why would I not eat these berries? Why would I not have these berries on hand? I'm going to have these berries on hand. And that's exactly what the brother going to do. The brother is going to do. I'm going to have blackberries on my property. Um, and that right now, oh God, I stuck. How many I got down in there? About let's say got 8 plants down there, 10, something like that. I'm going to keep those in on the property growing. I'm going to do that because they're important to have for me. I want blackberries on my property. They're sweet, they're good. Um, they do not require a lot of care. But if I know somebody like farmers like Lee Farmer, yeah, Lee Farmer and all the other, there's some gardeners out there that will fertilize them, that will water them properly, and will get the proper size berries and get the vast number of berries up. But you don't have to feed them. But it's best if you do because they do better when you feed them. And so that being said, the brother here is going to make certain that he has some blackberries on hand. Blackberries, sweet, beautiful clusters, and when you feed them and you do them right, they're sweet and they're large. And I'm gonna tell you something, they can get pretty big. They can get pretty big if the berries and the plant. So keep that plant cut back. Take your cuttings, cut them up, stick them in soil, and and to your neighbors. Give them to your neighbors. The plants are powerful. They're powerful. Now my raspberries, I just like them because they're sweet and they're good. I'm not going to praise them too much. I like them. They're great. But the raspberries, I bought, I think, 2 plants that at the end of the year they were getting rid of. And when it got rid of the plants, I jumped on it and I grabbed up 2 plants. Now I have one. I don't know how many plants I have. I don't really want to guess. It's somewhere around 30, 40 plants. They produce on their own, but you can get those plants numbers up by just putting them in the ground. That's it. Put them in the ground, and raspberries will do their own deal. I seen a guy putting in raspberry plants on a video. I don't know what he spent. He didn't talk about the price. He put them in, and he just simply said, "Hey, I'm gonna put these raspberries in," and he put like 15 plants in. So he pays for 15 plants, which if he took care of the plants, he probably have over 80 plants now. Which you can't eat all those berries. But he paid good money for it. I wouldn't do that. I would get 2 or 3 plants. If I wanted my numbers up, I get at the most uh, 4 or 5 plants, and in no time I'll have over 80 plants. No problem at all. They produce every year. They keep sending up 4 to 5 new plants, and they can overrun your property. They can overrun your property, so you got to stay on that. Taking them up, taking them out. When they start moving into areas where you don't want them, you take them out. You just take them out means dig them up and pop them out, and make them grow back on their own again. But don't let them just run over the property. Because mine right now went underneath, excuse me, a tree that's called a pear tree. Went right over there near. I said leave it there. It's in the right spot, so I don't mind it being there. It's not gonna kill the tree. It's not gonna do anything to the tree. But I want it because it went over there because that's where I'm feeding more of the fertilizer at near the tree roots, and that's why it went over there. It went over there, went right over there. Just walked over there and said, "Wait, what's up? Can a brother get something to eat?" And so grow your berries. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I want to hear some of y'all war stories on stuff you grew. That's what I want to hear. What is your favorite plant you put in your yard? Do you grow fruit? Do you grow fruit trees? Are you planning on putting in any fruit trees or fruit plants in this year? If so, what? Because I have all the plants I need right now. I don't need any more fruit trees. I could stick maybe two in, but I don't think I want to because it's just too much back there right now. I have enough fruit for a family. I have enough fruit growing back there. Um, I put in how many cherry trees I got? One, two, three, four, five. I think I have five. Yeah, and that's just too much. The fruit comes, it just drops, or it just drops. It's just a lot of fruit. It's a lot of fruit. But my favorites, if you ask me what my favorites are, it's got to be those peaches because peaches are just, I mean, my God, they're sweet, big, they're juicy, and I had some in there this year that were beautiful sized. And I thought, wow, these are beautiful peaches. And I bit into one of them, and all the juice just ran down, and and you just say, oh, this is great. Um, but the the trees that are doing extremely well, Alberta is one. It's an early variety. I think Alberta might be early in most places, but it's early here. And then you have the Hell Haven peach. That one grows mid summer, mid. It comes in mid, and they were trying to sell one they called it was some kind of big peach called God, a big Bertha, big something it was called. And I almost suckered in and bought that. Got to thinking, wait a minute, why do you need a big peach for? For what? When you've got so many peaches coming from these five trees, why would you necessarily need a big peach? And I thought about it and left that sucker right there in that store online. I do not need a big peach. Um, Big peaches mean the tree's a little bigger. It means that you're going to have to. Oh yeah. Red Haven. Wait a minute, Red Haven. That's the one I was going to get one day because I like the color of the peach. I like the color of the peach. Yeah, Red Haven. Red Haven. They sell it right on it's a store online called Stock Bros. Well, Stock Brothers used to be, and that they almost got me to get that one now. That one there, I would if I lost a peach tree, yeah, I would get a Red Haven. I would get a Red Haven because one thing I learned about the Havens is they grow better. I haven't had any. Yeah, that's right. I haven't had any problems. I haven't had any problems with mine. Now, if I were to complain, if I would have, excuse me, um, if you don't put a neem oil on them before they bud out, from my experience, see, always from my experience, they will be eaten up by insects. Neem oil. Neem oil before it buds out. You smother all the insects that overwintered on that tree. Then you have another something called copper. I've never used it before, but I'm actually reading up on it now. I just want to read up on see what it is. Now, um, all the years I've been growing fruit, I never put any chemicals on them that were quote unquote. Well, congratulations and thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate that very much. Yeah. That's it. You got it. Food Forest. You got it. That's it. That's it. It's in Lowe's. They sell it in Lowe's, but it's in a little bottle. And I'm thinking, this little bottle is expensive. And here's what you want. You want pretty fruit that the bugs are not eating up. You want pretty fruit. You want fruit that's not going to kill you. Most important. And they got different ways you can keep insects off. I understand they have traps and things like that. Try to find those traps in your local stores. You can't. You got to get them online and all that stuff. And how well they work, you don't know um, until you get them and try them, or you talk to other people who are familiar with these traps. Uh, so it's a you want fruit that they haven't massacred the insects. Because I had one year they massacred all my cherries. Every cherry had a white, looked like a maggot in it. That's what it looked like. It was in every cherry, and I didn't eat any of those cherries. I just kept popping them open with my fingers and looking and seeing these maggots in every last one of them. You would see a little dot on the cherry, and when you pop it open, you saw the maggot in there right next to the seed. Needless to say, I left those to the birds that year because I wasn't going to eat them or take any chances. I don't like eating maggots. I just don't like it. Um, Uh, but you do that with fruit, especially. I'm understanding plums, peaches, apples. The bugs eat those fruits up. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. But you got to understand, a little bit of a sickness comes with that. See, I'm addicted to gardening, and I know that. I know that I'm addicted to gardening. I study it every day. I know that's a problem. I study it every day. I'm always somewhere around my garden. If not in my garden, I'm looking at videos of. I carry around videos of my garden on my phone. Um, I carry around still shots. Um, I'm thinking about making T-shirts of some tomatoes I grew one year and put across the front of it "Morning Gardener." And yeah, so I mean, I'm addicted to it. I know I'm addicted to it. Right now, before I got here on live, I was thinking I should go outside in the garden and go out there. But I said no, go a little later when the sun comes up. Uh, and so I love it. I love it. It's an addiction. It's definitely an addiction. Um, I was I got people at work into gardening. I got neighbors into gardening. I had family members into gardening. I got them into gardening, and it's all because I talk about it all the time. I said, think about it: a fresh, uh, uh, the aroma of a tomato. When you cut into it, and you're eating your burger, turkey burger, and you're eating your burger, and the slices are pretty, and they smell good, and they taste right, and just the flavor of them. And you can actually grow tomatoes to taste a certain way. That's what really intrigued me about growing certain vegetables. That if you know you're going to pick them on Monday and you stop watering them on Friday, that will intensify the flavor in that tomato. You don't water it all the way up to the day you're going to pick them, and the flavor is somewhat diluted. You want to wait and make certain that you have its flavor at its peak. Um, but I just enjoy it. I just enjoy it. The cucumbers. Used to hate cucumbers. Oh, the ones from the grocery store. I thought years ago that's how cucumbers tasted. Bland, no flavor, no punch when you bit into it or ate some of it. And then one day I started growing my own, and I fed them, and I watched them, and I kept an eye on the leaves, and the leaves were the right color, the right slickness on them, where they produce their own protective coating. And I knew that they were right, and I knew that they were doing well. And I'm growing them with rainwater, and I'm growing them with the tea that I make, and they were doing beautifully, beautifully. And and I started cutting them up and putting them in salads, and noticed that I started eating salads because of the cucumbers. Incredible, absolutely incredible. The flavors, the absolute flavors of what you can get when you grow a plant properly. And then you extract those seeds from those plants, and you get that same taste all over again next year. You might not get it if you go buy fresh seeds in a pack. You might not get that because when you save the seeds, those seeds become conditioned to the way you care for them, the soil that they're growing in, the type of water that you're giving them. They become conditioned to that. And when they become conditioned to that, you put them in the ground next year or you start them in pots, they already know what to do. They don't have to familiarize themselves with your soil balance because they already are being conditioned to grow in that soil. And that's what you want to do. Yes, beautiful flavor in those particular peaches. Well, I know about the Hell Haven. The Hell Haven made me fall in love with peaches. Made me fall in love with peaches. I thought I tasted sweet peaches when I was a kid. We used to go out with my dad on Saturday morning to and back then he used to have these little markets, uh, that the farmers would bring their stuff there. Uh, and there wasn't a lot of craziness going on with the food, where the food was grown. It was grown with animal manure and it was put in good Georgia soil, North Carolina soil. It was grown beautifully, and the farmers cared about their product instead of how fast and how pretty they look. Right now, they don't care if they have any nutritional value whatsoever. They just need to look good. And once you buy them and put them in the cart and get them home, not necessarily in that order, but you get them home and you bite into it, and it's hard. It has no flavor. And you think about the price you just paid for these, and you're stuck with them. You're stuck with them because they made their money off of you. They ain't worried about it. They're not worried about it. They know you'll repeat that same action again. You will go into that store. You'll see the pretty peaches. You'll see the pretty apples. You will purchase and go through that same bad experience all over again. They know that because after a certain amount of months or a year or so, you'll forget about how bad that tasted, and you'll think maybe, just maybe this one could be different, and it'll be exactly the same experience. So I stopped buying into that. I said I don't want this to keep happening. How much and how do you grow your own fruit? That's the first thing I asked myself. And I was at work when it happened. I had this epiphany. And I said, I got to change this. This can't be the way it is. And I went through a little bit of a hard time when I first went out. I bought these trees from this company called Summer Stone Nursery. Horrible experience. They sold you little thin trees that were about thick like that, They would come to your door. I'm not kidding. And good luck. Good luck if it was the right tree. Good luck if it was the right tree. Because I've grown them all the way up 4 years later and found out that my Granny Smith apple tree actually was crab apples. Or my Honeycrisp apple tree was actually crab apples. And when I called them up and say, hey, listen, what's going on here? She said, no, sir, you're not. They're just small because it's the first time they produced. I knew that was a lie. I took pictures of the tree and sent it to them, digital pictures. And they looked at the pictures and said, oh, no, these are the correct ones. They're the correct ones. Yes, sir, you're all set. And that year went by, all these beautiful little tiny apples on this tree. And the next year came in, they did the same thing. And I had a gentleman come over because I was doing some work on my house. And he looked at the apples and he said, I said, look at these, sir. I said, I grow all my own fruit. I said, I'm growing all my own fruit. I said, I'm doing quite well. I said, I'm trying. And he said, these apples are crab apples, right? I said, I had a suspicion they might have been, but I wasn't sure. He said, look at the bottom of them. He said, see those three dots? I said, yeah. He said, look at all apples. See them on every apple? I said, yeah. Those are crab apples. And I said, what? And so I was ticked off. So he left. I went out in the yard. I looked at these trees. They're beautiful, healthy trees. And I cut them down. I cut them down and I covered the ground with a tarp. I cut down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I cut down 6 trees. I was pissed off. My neighbor tried to save them. He said, "Listen, don't cut them down. You can use the crab apples for something." I didn't want crab apples. Did not want tiny apples. So what I did one thing I only could do. Went and talked to the old lady, and she said, "Listen, you keep going to this same company you've been going to for years, and they keep selling you the wrong trees, the plums, the apples, uh, cherry trees. They keep selling you all the wrong stuff. Why do you keep going back?" I said, "Because the prices are really good." She said, "You're not saving money if you're getting the wrong trees and waiting 3 years, 4 years to find out they're the wrong tree. You're not saving any money. What is that other company you said you would like to go to, but you didn't quite like the prices?" I said, "It's called Stark Brothers." She said, "Go to them and get the correct trees. Please. I'm not telling you how to do this, but just give it a try." I said, "Okay, I'll think about it. I think you're right, but I'll think about it." I called, I got on the line, I went to Stark Brothers, beautiful pictures, tons of information, and I looked at it. Prices were different, $28, $25 each. So I said, okay, called them up, talked to them, and they said, "We are a professional store. If you have any problems, any concerns, we're here. Call us up. If the tree doesn't live, call us up. We will guarantee the tree for 1 year." And I said, "Oh my goodness, who are these people?" They were talking all the right stuff to me. And I said, "Well, I had experience with another tree company where I would call them up and I would put an order in, and 3 weeks later the tree would come." She said, "No, no, no. Our tree will be there in 3 to 4 days." What? 3 to 4 days? Never heard of such a thing. So I got online, I started ordering. And the first thing is I ordered was the first tree I ordered from, plum tree. Plum tree. And then a pear tree. And then another plum tree. And then a cherry tree. And then an apple tree. And another apple. And another apple. Then I bought another apple. And another apple. And another apple. Then I bought another apple. And another apple. And another apple. They were happy with me. And all the trees that were left from the old store, they happened to be the correct trees. So I left them. And one was a Hell Haven. And I love that tree. Because in the first year, second year, it started producing. It produced 2 or 3 peaches, but it was producing. And then I started noticing that my orchard started looking like an orchard. Trees got about 6 feet tall, 6.5 feet tall. And I looked at them, I said, "I want to keep these trees at 6 feet, 6.5 feet tall. I want them to stay that tall. I don't want real tall trees. I don't want really wide trees. I want them to stay compact." And for the most part, I'm going to say that for the most part, I've kept them there. Because we had a lot of rain this year, and I saw those trees go from 6 feet, and it kept raining every day. It seemed like it was every other day actually. Couldn't get out there to do anything. The ground was mud, everything was mud, deep mud as well. I went back out there after rain for 3 weeks straight, and it let up for 2 days and it started back again. But I remember going out there and those trees were 20 feet tall. I kid you not. 20 feet tall. 20 feet tall. And I remember extending my arm and I looked up and I said, "Oh my God, the tree you put in there, you can no longer touch the top of it or anywhere near the top of this tree. What is going on?" And I thought about it. Yeah, that's right. All that rain and the trees just constantly eating all the minerals from the soil. and growing these beautiful, big, thick, healthy branches. Incredible. And I started cutting back because I was obsessed with the fact that these trees were not going to get that big. I couldn't have them that big. I couldn't have them that big. And I did all I could to keep everything small, and they kept growing. And the apple trees, for some reason, well, they did pretty good. But the ones that were already established, they were drinking in water, they were drinking in nutrients. And see, what you're eating from the tree is the nutrients in your soil, the minerals, if you will, from the soil. You're eating that. Now, take cuttings, and I put them at the base of my tree. Neighboring trees that are around me, when they drop a branch, or I have the neighbors cut, and I go in and cut those down to pieces about like that, 12 inches long, and I put them around my trees. I don't do what everyone else does. I just don't do that. I can't follow what's in. I gave away my gardening book, 700 some pages. I gave it away a few years back because it was showing me a lot of weird stuff in there. It kept saying, when you till your soil, and I don't till my soil, don't want to till my soil anymore. I saw what it does. When you till your soil, when you fertilize with 10-10-10, I saw that. And I was back in the day when I was just starting out, and I was buying the 10-10-10 and and getting weird results. My soil was heavy clay. It was no good for growing a lot of things. And then I started finding people online like Mr. Paul, and it was this, I think it was Chinese or Japanese, Mr. Jakob. No, not Mr. Jakob, Connie's. But he showed you how to fertilize your land with the very grasses and weeds that grew on it. And I started tripping out. I said, I got this. I got this. And I started using his technique and the wood chips and everything. And I started piling up wood chips. I would get 2 trucks at a time of wood chips. And I'll still get the wood chips if I can get them. But I've been kind of not really caring when they drive by. I look at them and go, damn, look at all the wood chips. It'd be full. And I'm thinking, but you got grass, you got weeds, you've been cutting, you've been chopping and dropping, and your soil is responding the way you want it to. Your soil is doing exactly what you want it to, and it's growing everything beautifully. Why would you need the wood chip? And I kept thinking, everything you need is right here already on your property. You're just neglecting to use it. That's what I used to do. I used to pull the weeds out, bag them up, throw them away, and now I don't do that anymore. I do not do that anymore. The weeds were growing and they were vigorous and they were growing beautifully. And I said, wait a minute, something is here and it's trying to tell me something. Why are the weeds growing so beautifully? Because they're growing off of all the organic matter that you're putting in the soil. So use them. They're nothing but food. Why are you throwing them away? And I started using the weeds. I started using the grasses. I'm in front of my yard, cutting all this long, beautiful grass and throwing it in the compost pile when I should have been putting it around my plants. And I started learning to do that. When I cut the grass, I go put them around my pepper plants, and that's a mulch. And when it rains and when it dries out, it does nothing but feed those pepper plants. Oh my goodness. I started not going to the store and buying fertilizer because everything was growing beautifully. And then each year I got more and more and more grasses growing and the weeds were growing, and I cut them back and I made this beautiful tea from them, and I was making the mulch, and I was cutting them back and leaving them right on the surface, and the sun and the water and everything was putting them right back in the ground. And I was loving it. I was loving it. And now I'm kind of addicted to that because I'm getting everything growing the way I want it to grow. I could actually this year plant my garden and not fertilize, and I will get some good results because I fertilize in the fall. I don't fertilize in the middle of summer and spring. I don't do that because Mother Nature does not fertilize that way. She does not fertilize that way. All I do is cut the weeds and grasses down when they hit fall. They lay on top of the surface. They turn brown. I'm watching all of this because I'm paying attention to it. And it lays on the ground. And when it lay on the ground, it does nothing but stimulate the biology in the soil. And they're eating and enjoying and they're living and dying and their excretions and their body waste and everything from them stays in that soil because they're going to stay where the food supply is. They don't care whether or not you're feeding them wood chips or you're feeding them cut up weeds, cut up grasses, pieces of limbs off of trees. They don't care. They want to eat, and that's it. It's bottom line. Bottom line. That's what they want to eat. So that's why when I put wood around my fruit trees, and all of them have wood around them, all of them, it keeps the soil at a certain temperature. It keeps biology active around those roots, and the trees do well. The trees do well. The trees do well, and I love it. This has been the Morning Garden, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate you all. Thank you. Thank you very much.